Okay, so let us now define repair, rehabilitation, retrofit. These terminologies are often used these days. These terminologies actually were not known, let us say, about 30-40 years back, because in our country it was all new construction, but then this became very important. As I am saying, maintenance is becoming important. More you construct infrastructure, more maintenance requirement will be there. More you construct buildings, maintenance would be important. So, what is repair? Repair relates to restoring the functional performance to an acceptable level, that is what we are saying, like patch repair I am saying, right. Rehabilitation means complete structure or complete buildings, that is the terminology. Whenever we say rehabilitation, it does not mean one localized repair, it means everything, whole structure as a whole, we will take whole building as a whole. And then retrofit is related to currently acceptable standard, means nothing might have gone wrong, but I decided to retrofit to that. So, something like your terminology like energy retrofit means currently the building is there, but its energy consumption is too high, and current standard something like ECBC, energy conservation building code and all that, they say no, you come bring it down, do not have per square meter of that much energy per year, it is not allowed. So, in that case you have to retrofit it to current requirement, nothing has gone wrong really. Similarly, earthquake engineering, this is very common. As I said, perception of seismic risk keeps on changing, not that world universe has changed or the tectonic things have changed, but our perceptions are changing as the knowledge improves, right. The places which were thought that they were not possibly prone to seismic risk, now we think that they are. So, therefore, which you are already there, we think the risk is even more, because we have now more knowledge available, more data available, more information knowledge both available. So, codes have changed, our perception has changed. So, what you are doing? Okay, since it has changed, you better make it to currently acceptable standard. So, retrofit is related to that, retrofitted to currently acceptable standard, could be living standard, could be safety standard, could be anything, energy standard or similar sort of things, that is the terminology used for retrofit. So, there is a difference, people do use quite often synonymously, they are not synonymous. Renovation, rehabilitation, retrofit, everything goes as if it is same, it is not same, every terminology has got different thing, right. So, strengthening is different, structural scenario again they would use same retrofitting, but actually they are doing strengthening. Strengthening is different than repair. Structural strengthening I am saying is only related to structural strengthening, or strengthening related to any other context also could be there, but largely we mean it to structural strengthening. So, you want to increase the size of the column, or maybe increase the shear capacity of the beam, right. This is strengthening, shear strengthening, strengthening the column, etc., including confinement. So, these are strengthening, it is different, it is not same, and you have to do what are you doing, why are you doing, that is important and related to that. Then this other terminology which are important, we will talk about that sometime at the end of our discussion. Damage and distress. Damage is essentially occur due to structural, right, and distress is related to damage or distress can occur because of deterioration. Two things, if I have a maintenance also means structural safety part. So, we will look into both safety as well as functional aspect, structural safety part as well as functional aspect, right. So, damage is related to, when I say earthquake damage, earthquake does not cause deterioration, it is earthquake damage, damage due to wind or due to overloading. Now, this is very common in transportation, usual capacity of the trucks are possibly 25 ton even say, but it will carry 40 ton, something like that, till the wheel can move, that is what they say in the roads actually. This is very common in India, overloading. So, such real overloading it takes place and it goes beyond the safety measures, somewhere it can even cause damages locally, directly or indirectly, the fatigue life might get reduced, whatever it is. So, what I am saying is these are damages, while deterioration is a slow process. Deterioration occurs because material degrades with time. All the man-made material, all the material that we produce at the expense of energy. they are not there in the nature. So, they will have a tendency to go to a stable state, relatively stable state, relatively stable state, right, because all the material that is available in nature are stable, because they have dissipated all their energy and come to a stable state, that is why they are there, otherwise they would change. But man-made materials, you have changed those natural material to a new material, new system with the expense of energy. So, actually you have raised their potential level, potential energy, you have given some energy. So, its potential level, chemical potential level, thermodynamic potential level actually you have increased. So, they will have a tendency to go back to their original state, therefore, they are not generally stable. So, material tends to degrade, materials degradation of material, and then this causes deterioration of the element. So, deterioration, degradation, these are other terminology, and this might lead to serviceability limit failure. So, most often latter may not lead to collapse, some sort of one local crack even in a structural element, it will not lead to collapse. I am talking of structural system at the moment, but it is giving you a warning that you got to replace it, because it is not acceptable either for the look point of view, or although it will not lead to collapse, if there is excessive deflection or something like that, or vibrates, people will not simply go there. So, this is serviceability limit failure, and therefore, even though it does not lead to collapse, you got to repair it, replace it depending upon the situation. I have already talked about intended design life, physical, economic, service life, and there is one terminology of residual life. Residual life means at this moment part of the life is over. At the mid of intended design life, I want to look into how much is the life in any context, could be residual service life. We expect this is the period during which it will remain in service at this point of time. Residual life, because some damage has occurred. So, next repair, time for next repair in terms of residual service life of element, that you have to see. So, that is what it is. So, again as I said, I am just like people have all kind of notional things. Somebody will say life of reinforced concrete buildings are 100 years. How do you say so? It is very difficult to say. Or we have designed something for 1000 years. Well, 1000 years it would be notional only. Estimating this is not very easy thing. It is fairly complex. 1000 years is extremely complex. How can you say that something will last for 1000 years? You just cannot say. With the confidence level will be relatively low. So, there are issues actually. So, but anyway, it is contextual. So, intended design life, functional life, economic life, physical life, these are all contextual definitions. There is no single definition of life, and we are talking in building maintenance management system, we are talking of intended life, right. Okay, let us see where does maintenance stands in the overall building schemes, the scheme of buildings. If you can see this, actually how does it starts? Building construction, it starts with the owner or user, owner can be the user, or user could be separate. It starts from there, they only think that we should be having a building. Now, okay, then they give brief statement, why do I need a building? For example, an academic institution like IIT, it wants to construct a lecture theatre complex, right, or it wants to construct a hostel. So, that is the brief, that is basically the brief statement of purpose, requirement, right. And what are my constraints? The constraints is that first constraints would be the space, the floor area ratio is restricted. So, you cannot use something, or height restrictions. Particularly in IIT Delhi campus, we have a height restrictions because we are on the aviation route. Floor area ratio will be dictated by the Delhi Urban Arts Commission's requirement, whatever they say, because you will have separate floor area ratios for residential areas and for the academic areas, So, that kind of thing. So, they will have, this is another restriction. Space restriction, this is the spaces, maybe out of all those you want to optimize it best. Supposing one wants to build up, now not now, but earlier they wanted to build up sometime a lecture theatre complex. So, you see what are your options available, which are the spaces you can utilize. Can you demolish something and make it, or the empty spaces where you would like to make it? Now, demolish something means you have to that people who are occupying those space, they have to put in some other place temporarily. The other thing is that travel distances must be minimum, which I told you sometime earlier. People should travel least, so it must be at the center. For electrical substation, I said it should be at the electrical loads center. Similarly, for people, traffic flow is very, very important. In fact, you can see that the lecture theatre complex we have, from the department's travelling time, if you have some class in some in this side, if all classes are there, maybe students will have to walk a little bit less, but the teachers should actually travel quite a bit. So, in hospitals this become very important, because doctors might lose their time in travelling, the nurses might lose their time in travelling, and it has been seen in 1960s in a survey in UK that quite often in a bad design they might spend even 60% of the time moving from operation theatre to his office, to chamber, out to OPD, to the to the what you call wards. So, if they are designed in a proper, because there are a lot of functional spaces there, OT is one kind of functional space, the wards are another kind of functional spaces. So, this one of the papers by Whitehead and Elders, they gave that result of the survey. So, this optimize the single story layout planning. So, the constraints should be stated in this manner. Okay, you have this space and try to optimize with those constraints. So, that is the first thing. Now, then what one does? The the plan is made. Generally, architects take up this kind of work. They would do the planning of different spaces, right. So, then design, optimal spatial design, space related, and considering the physical environment, which means the thermal environment, temperature, relative humidity, the requirement for noise, lighting and daylighting and all those issues. So, functional planning and spatial optimization, that is what is done. But simultaneously you have to see, okay, quite often somebody is the one provides this kind of design and you find that it is too costly. So, there is a financial regulator all the time goes back, because budget constraint must have been also given by the owner. So, you can't so you might go and might change this as much as possible. Then at this point of time, obviously the construction will go, structural design will also occur, structural design will also take place, and a complete design would be there, and then this information will go to the to construction and physical realization of the design, right. Now, when you want to design, you physically want to realize the design, that means the construction, there is a quality issues are also involved, right. The variability from the desired level, you want some quality, some level of the construction, and you find that there is a deviation from this, the quality is not as good. So, you also specify what should be the quality requirement, and of course, quality control and cost control comes there. Actually estimated cost and actual executed cost, they should not vary too much, definitely not beyond 10%. 10% is allowed because many things you might not have seen, but actually is happening, but should not very, very large, it should be as estimated. Errors in estimation is usually there, so you can accept around some amount of error. So, deviation should not be there, it can be less, nobody bothers, but still it should be as accurate as possible. So, quality and cost control is done, cost should not go high up. So, therefore, you realize physically what is it, and at this stage itself you must talk in terms of maintenance manual. During the design stage, before physical realization, even before the structure is or facility is physically realized, you prepare the maintenance manual, because in design itself you have decided X, Y, Z type of materials and system I will use, and how much after how many years it will require. Very simple example is a paint, external painting, depending upon the area. Now, you have decided this paint has to be replaced or repainted in every 5 years, you might put it in maintenance manual. If you have a good maintenance manual, later on poor decisions will not be taken. Poor decisions will not be, otherwise arbitrary decisions may be taken. So, a maintenance manual should come exactly simultaneously, it should be prepared quite often, sometimes it is done also. So, maintenance manual, and it should be adhered to, as it should be adhered to, right. So, this is prepared because you might have by deliberately decided to have more periodic maintenance, spending less cost now, or maybe high cost in the beginning, but less periodic cost, maintenance cost. So, maintenance manual is prepared at this point of time. Then actual construction has occurred. So, as built drawings we call it, as built situation, that should be recorded, and today if implementing such a thing is not very difficult, it is a question of culture and intention. With the advent of information technology, you can have database programs, right. You can even, we actually did it for IIT main building sometime, give an identity number for the space, numerical identity, right, codify it every space, and what is there existing at the time of construction, you can actually do that, or at any time you can do it and create a virtual virtual situation for total building. It can be done through building information modeling these days, because this information modeling can do a lot of, it gives you what is there, or rather you can, maybe some modules might be added, of course. I do not know exactly whether BIM provides this kind of facility, but perhaps it can, some modules may be added if it is not there. So, it is possible to keep this information somewhere, the data of what has exactly happened, what is existing finally, what has been realized. All right. And then simultaneously guarantees and warranties are also given after construction, particularly a waterproofing system provided, they will say that okay, 7 years it will be no problem, 10 years it will have no problem. So, those records will also be there, and this information goes to the information and research, which can be passed on later on to next building. There can be two-way traffic, and then these guarantees and warranties, and then comes the maintenance. So, here is the maintenance, maintaining the facility according to a currently acceptable standard, that is what comes. Now, you will be maintaining, and then information is there. So, you also have a user also defines what is maintenance objective right in the beginning itself. There is the user's role also. For example, this is not really as yet common in India, but it is started in some places, not in a global scale, but many of those builders actually what they do the maintenance activity also. Sometimes they hand over to other maintenance agencies. Now, if it is there can be different tiers. For example, now it is compulsory for most of the builder to have some sort of LIG buildings, economically weaker section buildings for economy. Now, the maintenance level there will be totally different than maintenance for luxury houses, right. The levels will be totally different. So, objective of maintenance also could be different. In a hotel, maintenance level will be totally different, because there it fetches you money. So, the return, if it is poorly maintained, you will not get the return. So, objective maintenance objectives are stated also by owner or the user. In hospital, of course, the hygienic condition maintenance, and also again there should be cross contamination and such things. So, this maintenance objectives are right in the beginning, it is mentioned. Then maintenance comes from the as existing the facility, as status of the facility, state of the facility. Then these two together controlled by a financial regulator, because how much money you can spend on maintenance, that is to be seen. So, physical condition survey is done for maintenance. So, maintenance is finally done based on what is existing, and physical survey done periodically, and maintenance objective. There is a financial regulator. I may say I do not have money to maintain this year, we will do it later on, 5 years later or something like that, but some sort of financial regulator that would see whether it is financially viable to maintain this facility. I am talking of both structural as well as functional aspects, all maintenance, right. Is it possible to maintain this? And if it says that look, it is not worthwhile really maintaining it, rather I will sell it off, right, then demolish. I know not sell it off, demolish. Sell off of course would be something different. There may be the functional, functional changes, because okay, sell it off or change it, something else can happen. I mean no longer continue it. So, financial regulator governs these issues. And then either demolition, end of physical or economic life. Physical life is usually rare, but it can happen if it is not maintained properly, or you might improve it, functional changes might occur. So, this financial regulator tells me what to do. Okay, it is not worthwhile keeping this building, this property in this shape. Actually, this is very something is happening very interestingly in Delhi, actually must have happened in Mumbai too, because the FAR change has occurred. So, it is seen nothing has gone wrong with the building, financially it is viable. So, you what you do, you either demolish and construct instead of 1-story building 3-story building, what is now permitted, right, or some cases they add up more, of course, but that is a kind of improvement, if I may say so. So, you see financial issues dictates whether economic life is over, because the maintenance cost is too high, that is one thing. There are other issues comes in building system. It may so happen that you find it worthwhile to demolish it and construct something new, because the rent you will get is higher. You make it from 1 story. So, there may be more complex issues than simple issue, the physical and structural issues. So, that is the role of maintenance management in the overall construction activity, right, overall construction. All right. So, what we have seen, we have defined maintenance, we have defined various terminologies, we have defined life, and we have also said that defined maintenance management, and then role of maintenance, where does it stand to the overall construction activities, right, in the overall construction activities where does it lie. And then we looked into we also highlighted that maintenance is an important issue in the overall life cycle cost of the building. So, now let us look at what causes maintenance in buildings. What causes maintenance in building? Maintenance generators, right? What causes maintenance in building? One is mainly, you see, the maintenance will be related to, as I said, maintenance is not necessarily related to damages. Damages come once in a while. This is not really maintenance. If it was damaged, then you have to restore it straight away, damaged ones. So, damage comes because of accidental disaster, I mean overloading or disaster or similar thing, but otherwise largely it is because of the deterioration, right. So, first of all, deterioration occurs because exposure to the climate. First is the agencies is climatic condition. So, for example, a facade, let me talk of functional first. A facade where rainfall is high, the algae growth could be higher, say northeastern region of the country, right. You might find a lot of algal growth. So, you will have period, blackened concrete surfaces. It will be more, say Kerala in northeast, it would be actually you might find more related to that, while in Jodhpur or Jaisalmer or those areas, desert areas, this aspect would be less. Here the dust storm, dust storm creating problem would be more. So, the climatic situation influences, basically it can cause deterioration in some manner. Where there is high rainfall, there could be tendency of steel members rusting, steel component rusting, and maybe even leaching of chemicals from the construction systems or elements. So, this is what it is. So, this depends upon location, orientation. Now, other example is location, for example, seashore, Mumbai or Goa or any one of those places. The kind of amount of rebar corrosion you see in buildings, I do not think you see it elsewhere. Here also you see in some in Delhi, that is because of poor practice of construction, but naturally considered in seashore you will have salt concentration higher. Within 5-10 kilometers even on the seashore, wind blows up the salt, sodium chloride, etc., and that can result in deterioration in terms of rebar corrosion and so on. So, location and also orientation, the one facing towards sea shows more, while one on the other side of the sea you do not see it more. Orientation plays, location, orientation of the building, which have the greatest effect on external elements. Internal elements are not so much affected by this, all right. Users activity. Users activity. Now, this the extreme example again I am showing. So, I showed the extreme example related to deterioration. Extreme example related to, you see, also the paints etc., external elements will be damaged more in those places where you have got a lot of rainfall, lot of salt concentration. They can make dirty very fast. Look wise it can become aesthetically unpleasant. Now, coming to users activity, industrial situation if you consider, industrial flooring. So, it will deteriorate at a much faster rate, because cranes would move or some other movement of abrasions should be there. So, basically users activity, mechanical agencies, sometimes unauthorized or authorized does not matter. So, all this all this could be like burglar can be also an user for that purpose, damages, but then that is not very usual. We can't look at the periodicity of burgling, but just as an example, anything users activity authorized or unauthorized can lead to deterioration, right. Where this might be plumbing system for example. Now, a tap, washer in the tap which controls the water flow. There is a washer which will seal it up. So, when you lock it, when you close it, bulb, no water will come through, but if the washer gives up, that water will drip through it continuously, it will So, this is because you have done it for a number of period of time, the washer got it has got its life, it lasts its life, it goes away. So, many of those things would actually, because or for example, old days incandescent lamps, they will fuse after a certain period of time, right, because you will they have a life, how many hours of life it will last. Other lamps have longer lives, modern lamps have longer lives, but that is what it is. So, if you have used it, it would you need maintenance. So, users activity actually is the other one which generates maintenance. Third one is standard changes. This is standard of living changes or standard changes. Here code we are not talking about. As we said, building maintenance is related to both functional and structural aspects, and therefore, it is also related to standard of living. So, when it is standard of living, they may create a demand for work, right, more frequently than functionally necessary. So, say as I said, the tiles changing, around late 1990s, all the office tiling or floor tiling you see in civil engineering department or any department IT, they are earlier simply concrete, plain concrete flooring, they have all changed to tiles. You go to any office today, they are all tiles, because people felt that it should get a corporate look. I mean, everybody, all offices in the everywhere it is all Khajaria tiles. Why not put Khajaria tiles? So, this is nothing has gone wrong actually. It's a change of standard, change of standard, right. This also happens to furniture, curtains and similar sort of thing, and hotels they do it very regularly, because hotels they have some important hotels they have some after all it pays them back. So, hotels they do it very often, very regularly, change of carpets in the floor, just it has nothing has gone wrong, periodically just change it, because the function or functional situation is such, the functional situation of the building is such, standard would keep on changing, and it is an extreme case. So, standard change is causes also even if the cost condition is not worse, may create a demand for work carried out, and more frequently than functionally necessary. Repainting or sole purpose of changing the color scheme. Somebody might feel even color scheme, yes, interior color schemes. Earlier you would have had all whitewash, or simple. Today any Berger company or Asian Paints, they have all combinations. Okay, you have this side one color, the matching color is on that side, like that. This side. This is simply change of living standard. So, this looks good aesthetically, designer's color choice and all that. So, that is a kind of situation, and this is what it is, and maintenance may have to be done in certain type of luxury houses or certain kinds of even high income, moderate or high income groups also it is like that. Just it is fine, color changes, Hotels, this is of course very common. So, these are the maintenance generator. So, just let us look at one more thing. So, if you see it with time, standard changes like this, the last one. Deterioration might, some cases, not always deterioration will cause its standard going down, level going down, right, and original standard was somewhere here. But some cases users requirement now new standard, all the time user would require new standard. So, actual maintenance will be this much plus improvement part, modernization. So, both can occur simultaneously, So, with time this will go on increasing, and even this deterioration increases, therefore, it has some bearing with the timely maintenance also, right. And so, therefore, in some cases you might find deterioration occurring right in the beginning, some cases deterioration do not occur, but since the standard increase, the cost do not increase like this, but cost might increase later on. So, maintenance cost therefore, loss in value also, because if you do not change the standard, value is lost, right, value is lost. If you make it that color scheme, interior color scheme is better, maybe in a hotel room you will get, you can the price of the room will increase, right. If you have to give a house in rent, maybe its rent price will increase. So, this is maintenance cost growth. Two things happen. One, there is a deterioration, therefore, maintenance cost will increase with time, non linearly. Deterioration. So, value, when you look at value, loss in value would be there because of both the reasons. Value is slightly different than the cost, value is worth really slightly more, different than the cost or price is one thing, but value is something slightly more than that. So, the worth of the whole thing. So, maintenance cost will grow in this manner, and more with time value will be lost really. So, you will not be able to sell it to that, the popularity of your the rent you will get is less, popularity of hotel might be less, etc., the value may vary in this manner. So, this is what it is. I think we will stop at this point and try to take some questions from you, right.